Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. 5 WNBA games here on Sunday. We're going to be going through each of them, letting you know the info you need to get those bets down, some matchup data, some teams that have been hot recently, who's going to be missing, all that kind of stuff's going to be in here. So make sure to go ahead and give that video a like, and let's get right into it. First game is going to be the Liberty in Atlanta. That's a pretty early start in the day, 3 p.m. Eastern on the East Coast out there. But we are going to be seeing a starting lineup without Jonquel Jones, and Fibich is still going to be out for the Liberty there. So they're going to be starting Gardner. Sabally will be in there as well. And then on the other side for Atlanta, this is the starting lineup, but Griner and Canada have been the two players that have been getting a few less minutes here and there. Some stuff that's really been impacting the backups have been getting a bit more burn. We don't get props for the backups, but just something to be cautious with that the Griner and Canada minutes have been the most questionable. Brianna Jones, Ryan Howard, Alicia Gray, all getting their minutes. And then we're going to take a look at how these players for the Liberty have been doing without Jonquel Jones and Fibich, who have both missed a bunch of games. And in the last 7, that's been obvious. And I showed you this before they played the Mercury. They lost that game. We made some good money on some plus money there on the money line for that game for the Merc on Friday night. But it's a similar look here. Now, it's not like the Dream have been incredible, but they've been basically the 3rd or 4th best team in most categories for most of the season. These net rating, defensive rating especially, not the best rebounding team for Atlanta. But you can see here this Liberty squad, who went from being top 2 to 3 and basically everything you needed to worry about, haven't been good on the rebounds for most of the season, but especially bad without Jonquel Jones. You can see the net rating, defensive rating, and rebound percentage for this team plummeting in the last 7 games without 2 of their most important front court players in Jones and Fibich. As always, going to be using Props Madness here on the show. Definitely the #1 sports betting research tool for the WNBA and these player props. If you do want to get in on this platform, use code LYB. That'll get you 25% off. Going to get you everything that you need in here, including all the play type stuff, season shot charts, where the defense is good and where it's weak, how players before them have done, similar players of the same position, how they've performed against this team in the past. All this stuff available for a really nice price. So highly recommend jumping in on Props Madness. But I don't have quite as much for the Dream in this one, mostly because I can never get it right between Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard. Who's going to score? Who's going to dime up? Then, like I said, you've got the fact that Canada losing minutes, Pow in the backups, Hillman been getting minutes, Coffey been getting minutes, lots of players on the bench coming in for the Dream as well. So it's tough. If I'm going to pick an over for a player on their squad, in terms of the guards, either of them would be good because they're both going to be able to score up top in terms of Gray and Howard. If you look at this Liberty squad, what I'm always looking at in terms of targeting players that are going up against them, who scores from above the break, right? And Gray and Howard both score a ton from above the break. So again, I don't know really how to differentiate between who's going to do well for them anymore, but I know that one of them is probably going to do really well considering the matchup here up top. But I also think Griner at 8.5 points is a good bet to go over. She is at about 10 points per game in the games where they've needed her, or you can say that like they've been closer against better teams is what I'm trying to say. She's played a few more minutes that we can rely on. 28 minutes against the Lynx here, only 18 against the Wings, not quite as good. 18 against the Sky, 27 against the Mystics, right? 23 against the Liberty. So I think that's going to be where she's at, is closer to 20 to 25 once again. That's the pattern that I'm trying to predict here for Griner, is that the minutes will go up enough that 8.5 is a beatable number for us if she plays 20 to 25. And the boards are still at 4.5. Even though they're juiced, she's about 6 boards per game. So if you get 4.5, anything like minus 150 even or better, I'm probably going to play this here when I wake up on Sunday morning and get this stuff out. On the other side, I'm still going under on Natasha Cloud. She, beat us on this last game. Points and rebounds, if you look at her, she finally went over. But if you look at her in the last, basically, 12 games here or so, this has been a very, very consistent under on the PR. And we're still getting 12.5. That's the number that I've been going under. She's played well against the Mercury twice now and played really well in this last game, went 5 for 11. She hasn't gone 5 for 11 in forever, right? In this time frame right here, if you look at her field goal percentage, and that's a big part of this, she's not involved in the rebounds, but I like adding it to the points because the field goal percentage is at 30% for her. On the season, that's at 36. In this game, she shot 45% from the field, got to the line 4 times, not getting to the line barely ever, right? She's averaging like 1 free throw attempt per game in these last 12 games. So still happy to go under on Natasha Cloud. Another really tough matchup with the Dream, who are really good limiting rebounds to guards and points as well. That said, the way that you beat this dream team is on ball and going one-on-one versus them. And that's why Sabrina did so well in her last game against them. She had 34 points, right? And that was in about 38 minutes. I would expect her to be back up to full minutes like that once again in this matchup here. And if you're looking at how to beat this team, they don't double team for the dream. So if you're a one-on-one scorer like Sabrina is, and you're scoring off the pick and roll play, you're scoring off the pull-up shot a bit more than catch and shoot, you're going to be better against the dream to score points. So Sabrina is where I'd be going for points if I was looking for an over once again on a Liberty player. And I do think she's good at 17.5 points. This is still a very beatable number for somebody averaging basically 19 points per game this year. Next game up, we've got the Sparks in Chicago. We know there's going to be some players missing for Chicago. We'll talk about that in a sec. But the key to this game is going to be points. There's a really high total, and both of these teams are bottom in the league in defense. So it all makes sense, right? So I would be staying away from unders too many in this game. I think players are going to have some opportunity on offense to get some big, have some big nights. You had 169.5 nice total on the night there. And I do want to mention Brink, Odyssey, both probably still going to be out. They're both listed as questionable for Sunday, but Brink still seems like she's about a week away from that injury, and Odyssey's been missing for personal reasons, and there hasn't been much of an update there, so I wouldn't expect either of them to be back on Sunday. So the way these teams match up is pretty similar to how they matched up just a few games ago. Like I said, neither of these teams are going to be throwing out a ton of defense. That's the key here. So when we look at who's going to match up with who, the biggest difference from the last game is Rebecca Allen going to be out there, and Michaela as well, whose last name I'm going to mess up. So I'm just going to call her Michaela because that's her first name. And they'll be out there in the front court. Reese will be at center, I imagine. And we'll see if she matches up with Hamby or Azura Stevens in this one. But there's going to be some switching back and forth, I imagine, in the front court. Reese will sort of be rotating all over the floor, even though she'll be technically listed as the center in this game. So who are we going over with here? Let's start with Plum. I do think she's good for an over 18.5 points for a 20 point per game score against a team that is just bad on defense. There would both of these teams. Like I don't need to get into it too much, but especially as the pick and roll ball handler, the main on ball person, someone who likes to get out into transition and get to the bucket, also scoring for more than 40% of her points from above the break, where this is one of the two worst defenses in the league above the break for Chicago. Like guards can get what they want against this team. There's really not much resistance on the other side from players like Banham and Atkins, right? Just really not impressive above the break. So Plum, the points I like. Assists, if you get 4.5, even for the juice like that, also really good. This team gives up a ton of assists. They're third worst giving up assists on the season, 10th in terms of the fourth worst, I should say, giving up assists to guards specifically. So Plum, 5.5 per game. This is a really good hit rate on the assists. Love the points as well. It's a plus matchup. There should be a good amount of points. I'm a little bit surprised. I would imagine this 18.5 gets bumped up. So I'd hit this as soon as you get to it. On the other side, Reese, back to it, man. I mean, in the last game right here, we know Cardoso is going to be out. Again, that's going to put her back in the center spot and back in the spot to be able to get the bulk of the attempts down low next to the bucket, right? Cardoso definitely eats into her shot attempts, and all her shot attempts come from down here, right, next to the basket. 70% of her points come within 5 feet of the basket for her shooting. And if you look at, obviously, the way the Sparks are playing, they don't, I mean, Azura Stevens, big, just not very mobile defender, not really good defender, down low especially. So they're going to continue to struggle to limit points right next to the bucket, and we know that's where Reese is going to be going. Without Cardoso last game, she took 16 shots in that one against a much better defense down low. This Valkyries defense that they just played is one of the best in the paint for sure, and the best right next to the bucket where Reese wants to score. But she still got 16 shots off, still getting some pretty good looks. I think the points are the best way to go about this. The boards are 12.5, not a bad bet here. I mean, she got 17 against them recently, did have 12 earlier in the season as well. Without Cardoso, you'd expect the rebounds to stay high. I'm probably just going to leave it at the points. I'm getting plus money for her to get 13 here, and I expect her to get another 15 plus attempts. Last look I would have here is for Rebecca Allen. We're getting her boards at 3.5, basically flat, right? Minus 120 is good enough odds for me to take that over for her. If you look at her in the games where she's played minutes, right? She played 23, started last game, played 23. We know Cardoso's out again, so we should assume she's going to play 20 plus. And in the games that she's played 20 plus minutes, 9 of them on the season, gone over an 8, getting at least 4 boards, and right, looking at 4 boards exactly. So this is a really good sort of under the radar type of play where she's getting the 20 minutes, which we can project for her. The books are still giving her too low of a prop based on her numbers for the whole season. Not taken into consideration, we should get a nice little minutes bump here for her against the Sparks on Sunday. Probably the best game of the day here, although I'm looking forward to the Storm and Valkyries, getting into that one in a minute. But really good matchup here between the Aces and Mercury. Which Aces team are we going to get to show up? Everybody healthy, which is key here on both sides of the ball. We're going to have everybody out there. So there's going to be some good matchups. I don't know if Alyssa Thomas right here is going to be on Jackie Young, or if they switch that with like Sabali playing there. I'm getting it right, Satu Sabali. I think Sabali probably stays on Stokes and Thomas on Young. Bit more versatile and better overall defender, and obviously we know Jackie Young is capable of. But there's going to be some opportunity to get points here. I think that's the big thing. And if we look at these teams in the last 7, should put the caveat in. The Aces have played like 3 or 4 games without Asia in the last 7 games. They've played about 2 or 3, I should say. So, the fact that she has missed has greatly impacted them. But the offensive rating has been way better for the Mercury. And while the Aces have been getting things together a bit on defense, especially with Asia back, the offense has not started to click well enough. And that's a big reason why this team is finding itself struggling to make the playoffs right now. The rebounding hasn't been there. And really the key issue is Kia Stokes is starting. If she's playing too much, then they don't have much on offense from her. If she's not playing too much, then their defense suffers tremendously. So the Aces are at a bit of a bind there, where I do like the Merc. They're 8.5-point favorites. That's a little high, but I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. They're both playing in the top 5 in pace in their last 7 games as well. Should add that. So I think there's going to be some opportunities for some transition points, especially. And I'd be a little bit cautious with too many unders again in this game. So giving you all the leans that I have for this one, starting with Sabali, because we can just pretty much go down the line talking about it. So for Sabali here, 18.5 points, and the boards are at 7.5. PR is 25.5. That's a consistently beatable number. I mean, she's over this in 11 of 16. Despite, the Aces seemingly having good players down low, they're still giving up a ton of points in the paint. They're dead last limiting points in the paint. They are 3rd worst limiting rebounds overall. So the points and rebounds together, this is going to be a good spot for Sabali. Once again, she had 31 against them in the last game. There's just not players big enough really to guard her down low, especially. You can see here in her last game, 15 shots, making 12 of them, but a lot of them from down low without shooting too many threes in that game. So do like her on the points and the boards, once again, with the way that this Aces team has been so bad rebounding, basically because they're playing 3 guards so consistently. For Copper, my best bet here for Copper is the 3 still. And as long as we're getting this at better than -140 or around -140 or better, I still like this number for her to go for 2. She's been their 3-point outlet more than anything since she's been back. Satu has gone down closer to the basket a lot more. Another reason why I like the rebounds for Sabali is the fact that she has been playing a little bit closer to the bucket on both sides of the ball, offense and her defensive matchup. For Copper, she's then come up and taken the bulk of the perimeter duties, both on offense and on defense. And I think her minutes will keep going up. She played 25 versus the Liberty. They won by 15. Probably would have been an opportunity for her to get about 4 or 5 more and get closer to 30 minutes if it wasn't a blowout. And if you look at the attempts here, 4 in 22 minutes, 6 in 23 minutes, and then 7 in 25 minutes. And she's really showing to be that 3-point outlet for them. So again, if you can get this number at better than -140 or around that number, I like her to go for 2+ threes in this game. And moving down the line here, Alyssa Thomas. 30.5, great. 29.5 if you can get it, obviously better, but I'll still take 30.5 PRA for her. I just like putting it all together. She's shown in different games to get the boards, to get the assists. She's consistently around 13, 14 points, and the PRA, putting it all together, means I don't have to worry about which one she's going to do more of in the rebounds and the assists. But the double-double has been consistent for her. I think she has a triple-double on the season. I'd have to double-check once again. Might only be like double-doubles with like 9 boards and 10 assists and that type of stuff, but she's getting the PRA really, really nicely here. 8 of 11 games, and we're still getting 30.5 in still a plus matchup, despite what we remember the Aces being. They don't seem to be that right now this season. Lax has been getting more time because Alex Held is missing. But the thing here, Alexa Held, I should say. But the key here is that Whitcomb is also getting minutes, and Whitcomb has been a better shooter as of late. So I'd rather bet on Sammy Whitcomb if we start to get her props. Bet on her last game for 10+ points. Still getting really good odds for her to keep shooting as hot as she's been. But if we're looking at the other side of the ball real quick, my favorite bet for the Aces here is probably going to be Chelsea Gray on the assists. But we're getting value on Asia Wilson on the points too. So I would just say if you are going to take Asia, if you can get this at 20.5, this is still a really good number for her to go over against the Mercury, who have been good, but like you can still score on them down low. And centers overall, taking on Westbeld, who's not the best, right? Like they've definitely been able to get theirs against this team. So I would continue to look at Asia to continue to take shots. Like the fact that she took 18 last game against Washington, who does really well defending centers, especially with Shakira Austin, means she's not going to stop, right? It doesn't matter if she's shooting 40%, 60%, 30%. She's going to be taking close to 20 shots. So I still like her as the main person to be scoring for the Aces squad. And then Chelsea Gray on the dimes. She's definitely been taking back over the sort of traditional point guard role, setting things up, keeping Jewel Lloyd off ball, Jackie Young on ball, but a lot more in a facility like to score sort of position. Whereas Chelsea Gray setting things up with Asia Wilson out there, especially the assists stay pretty high for her. So I like the 4.5 number we're still getting against the Mercury, who, by the way, give up the most assists per game to guards. Pretty good defense overall, but the assists are one area where they'll give it up as they do a little bit more trapping and try to force the ball out of the primary ball handler's hands. So the assists remain my favorite play for Chelsea Gray in this game. I got to skip over the Sun game right now. I mean, they're once again basically 20-point dogs to the Lynx at home. I don't really know why you would play. If anything, I'd be leaning under for players like Nafisa, but she could easily get 40 PRA in 25 minutes. So I'm staying away from that one. There's too many variables. But this should be another fun game, one that I'm definitely going to be watching, which is the Storm in Golden State taking on the Valkyries. And these are going to be the matchups once again. The key here for the Valkyries is I don't think we're going to have Temi Fagbenle back, but I still can't confirm. And most of the players that have been missing for the Valkyries are still going to be missing for them. So this sort of most recent lineup that's been starting for them with Hayes, Burton, Billings, Thornton, and Stephanie Talbot, they're all going to be out there again the same way. And then this really, really formidable starting lineup for Seattle will continue to get a lot of the minutes. Most of these players getting 30 plus, except for Ezzie McBeggar. And this is going to be a good one. I mean, these are the two of the hottest teams in the league over their last 7, both 5-2, both looking really good on defense. The offensive rating for the Storm, obviously second best in the league right now. Defensive rating for the Valkyrie, also second best in this time frame. But the Valkyrie have the edge in the boards for sure. They've definitely been much better cleaning up the defensive glass, especially. And the Storm do rely a decent amount on second chance points. I'd really like to take the Valkyrie in this one as home dogs, but this is one of the few teams that I actually do genuinely believe in the Storm is better than, like, noticeably better than the Valkyries. While I'm waiting to see about Temi Fagbenle playing and if there will be a few others back for the Valkyries, I'm not quite ready to bet on them. There's so much uncertainty around who's going to play for them. I will say Kate Martin has been hot, like wicked hot. And if she's getting 20 plus minutes, the usage rate has been super high, taking double-digit shot attempts in less than 25 minutes in each of the last 2 games as she started to get more burn, get back from a bit of an injury, and then get a lot of shots up, especially. So that's where I'd be going for an over on the points in this matchup for that squad. But I think better than that for me, the plays that I like here, starting with SDS, Skylar Diggins-Smith, if we're getting 6.5 assists, I'm going to go under. I don't know if we're still going to get this, but even at minus 154, I still really like this number to the under for her. Assist, this is a really good team limiting assists, 5th best in the league for the Valkyries, and 2nd best limiting guard dimes. She only had 3 in the last game in 35 minutes against this team, and has been doing a lot more scoring off ball and a lot less assisting, with Gabby Williams out there doing so much of that as opposed to her. And for Gabby, I'm still going over on the PRA here, 22.5. This will probably get bumped up, I imagine. I'm not sure if other people are paying attention to Gabby as much as I am, and hopefully people on the show, but I've been saying consistently 22.5, 23.5. Those are where the limits where I play Gabby Williams over on the PRA, but I'm just going for it all the time. She's so involved on both sides of the ball and has been taking over a lot more of these facilitator, almost point guard role, despite being listed as a forward. So still like the stuff for her to the over PRA as a whole, because I can't guarantee both these numbers are low for me. 4.5 on the boards and the dimes. Still like that to the over. 9.5, 8.5 RA is always going to be a play, but there have been a few games where she's gotten us there on the points. So I like continuing to make sure we get those because she's taking a high volume of shots. And then the last player here, I do like an under for the full PRA for Erica Wheeler here. 19.5 is too high for her in this matchup again against a team that is limiting guard rebounds, limiting guard assists a ton, and she's not getting a ton of assist attempts anyway, not as well on the boards, really not getting too many attempts there, consistently under on this number. So putting it all together, she's gone under very, very consistently on the PRA here, right? 9 of the 16 games that she's played going under. So still like this under at 19.5 for Wheeler against a very, very good defense in the Valkyries. All right, y'all, best of luck on Sunday. Looking to keep coming back next week. We're going to have the final, the Commissioner's Cup final on Tuesday. So going to be getting ahead of that as well with you guys. But best of luck on Sunday, like I said. Until I see you next, happy betting.